In this video, we will look at how we solve quadratic equations. In particular, we will highlight three methods for solving quadratic equations. The first one uses completing the square. The second, the formula method. And the third one is a graphical method. We will be taking examples from homework 1.2. So this will be useful in helping you answer the homework questions. To complete the square, it is good to memorize these two formulas. I will think of them as always being the difference of two squares. Whether it is x squared plus bx or x squared minus bx, I can always write them as the difference of two squares. There will always be an x in the first square term, and the sign depends on what I have in the original expression. The constant b after the sign is split half on one square term and the other half on the other square term. So the second square term is a constant. It's always a constant. There is no x inside. Let's take a look at this question from the homework 1.2, question 1a. We're going to use completing the square to solve this quadratic equation. We will only start with x squared plus 2x. Treat it as the difference of two squares. We fill in the blanks. Simplify. Keep the square term with the x on the left-hand side. Shift the constant to the right. The next step is to take square roots on both sides, and that always gives us two possible answers, a plus and a minus. Making x a subject will give us the answers to this equation. Our next question comes from question 1b, also solving a quadratic equation. The first thing we need to do is to rearrange the terms so that they are all on one side and the other side is 0. Focusing on the first two terms, x squared plus 6x, I write it as difference of two squares. Simplify. Keep the square term with the x on the left side, shift the constant to the right. Remembering that when I take square roots on both sides, there is a plus minus square root 12. Here are the answers to this equation. We move on to the second method, which uses the formula for solving a quadratic equation. And the formula makes use of the coefficients of the quadratic expression a, b, and c. Do note that this formula is not provided in the formula list, so you will need to memorize it. Let's take a look at question 2b. The logical thing to do first is to rearrange the terms so that it is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now that we have it in this form, we know what the a is, and b and c are both negative. And because they are negative, when you substitute this into the equation, into the formula, remember to place them inside round brackets. So we have x equals to minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac, and the whole thing is over 2a. This is the step that must always be shown in your working, with all these values substituted. After simplifying, these are the results we get. But because the question wants answers to three significant figures, those are the values we will show. For question 2c, we are solving the equation. At first glance, it does not look like a quadratic equation. But a standard thing to do is to get rid of the denominator, and the way we're going to do that is to multiply every term on both sides by the denominator x. Now we see that we have a quadratic equation, and what needs to be done is to shift all terms to one side with the right-hand side equal to 0. Knowing what the a, b, and c coefficients are, we substitute them into the equation x equals to minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. We simplify and we give the answers to three significant figures. For question 2e, the question wants us to form an equation given that the sum of two numbers is 58 over 21. This is x, of course, and what we mean by the reciprocal is 1 over x. You can also think of it as x to the power of negative 1. So our starting point is to use x plus 1 over x equals to the given fraction. Solve that to get the answers. And to do this, we will need to, of course, get rid of the denominator and do what we did earlier on, multiplying all sides, all right, all terms by the denominator x. For question 2e, we solve what looks like a slightly more complicated question or equation with two different denominators. But the approach is still the same as before. We get rid of these denominators. And we do that by multiplying every term by both denominators. You can do this in one go like this. So the multiplier is shown in red on every term. Once you proceed, you'll be able to remove the two denominators, expand if necessary, and then solve the resulting quadratic equation. Our third and final method is a graphical method. We will use it to solve the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So we have a left-hand side, which is a quadratic expression, and the right-hand side, which is 0. And to do that, we sketch two graphs. The graph of y equals to the left-hand side, as well as the graph of y equals to right-hand side. Now, the y equals to left-hand side is a quadratic curve, like this. And the y equals to right-hand side is actually the x-axis, because the equation of the x-axis is y equals to 0. So in order to solve left-hand side equals to right-hand side, we locate the points where the quadratic curve and the x-axis intersect. So on our diagram, the 2 points are located and shown, and the x-coordinates of these points are the solutions or roots of the original equation. So this is how we solve a quadratic equation using graphs. Let's see how this works with the question 3 from homework. And this is a diagram you get after plotting the points and then joining these points with a smooth curve. So the question says to solve this particular equation. Question, where does y equals to 4 minus 5x minus 3x squared intersect y equals to 0, the x-axis? The arrow shows you one of the points of intersection and the other point of intersection. So your job is to determine the x values at these 2 points. Is there a way to check your answer? Well, you can go back to method 2. So this is the question you are trying to solve. You can rearrange it to the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, and then apply the formula. The answers you get will be more accurate, but it shows and helps you check whether your graphical answers are accurate or not. And that ends this video.